This is a message to myself as much as, or maybe even more than anyone else. You know, in those lowest moments, when you're bored of everything, when you're tired, when you feel like you've given it your all and nothing is working out in your favor, like what can you do? You've got two options, three options. You can give up completely. You can choose to bail out of this game that is life. And one thing about taking your life, it's actually very empowering to give yourself that option. To say, look, I can give up. I can choose to leave. Like, I've got that power over myself no matter what anyone has over me. And before anyone starts about how that option is selfish and you're not thinking straight, I mean, maybe people aren't thinking straight at the time, but it's not really that selfish. Because as well as giving up the pain that you might feel in that moment, or even numbness, you're also giving up all the future possibilities of pleasure, happiness, and it's actually a courageous act to take it upon yourself and follow through with it, because it's not always guaranteed to work. So that's one option. Another option is to go into self-destruct mode to the extreme. You can start drinking, you can become a heroin user, you can really just go off the rails, you can smash things, you can just have like complete and utter destruction on your mind and act it out. The third option is to ride it out, to ride out the pain, to ride out the loneliness, to ride out the boredom, the fact of having nothing to do, the fact of just waiting for something that's going to come and it's going to be horrible. And I say that the third option is the one to take. You know, maybe be a bit destructive. Take from the second option, be a bit destructive. You know, smoke some cigarettes through the day. You'll give up eventually. You know it's not good for you, but what else are you gonna do? You can't deal with the stress, so you fucking have to. The reason why you have to take the third option is because you know why you're in this position in the first place. And like I said, this is as much a message to me as anyone else, but think about it. You've become too aware. You've become too aware of the situation in the world and what's going on and the evil. And someone very wise, my role model in a sense, one of my role models, someone I look up to, said to me, the evil is like this, but the good has always been there. And you have to focus on the good. Now think of two things. Think of the system that we live in, okay? Anyone who's conscious, anyone who's aware knows about the system. The system is eating us alive. The system is destroying our freedom. It's taking away our passion for life. It's keeping us divide and conquered. Like, that is how the system works. We've got the war on drugs. We've got the banking system. You know, we live in a world of plenty where it's full of poverty. We live in a world where the education system, it doesn't teach us to be independent. It doesn't teach us to really think and question. It teaches us to follow a set of rules and a very limited set of options that we can take. And you know this. And when you try to push back, you're not always going to be perfect. You're going to try your best and you're going to try to put the information out there and you're going to try to uplift other people, but it will throw it back in your face. The system does not want you to do that. And so that's why, for the most part, people end up in these dark places. And so that's why you have to just kind of ride it out. You have to ride out those times, because in the future there is hope, that there is only hope if you stay. If you stay pushing through, if you realize that it can change, that we can educate people to be actually thoughtful, critical thinking human beings. We can actually realize our true potential and our true power. And there's a lot of people talking about this stuff in the world today, and you can look them up for yourself. It's just that when you're not around other people who are on the same wavelength as you, when you're facing the backlash from trying to do something right, and when you know what's really going on in the world, like the evil that's happening right now to other people, like to helpless people, not just the manipulated starvation and all of this, but then you have to go into, and you sound crazy when you say it, but like look into David Icke, look into these people, and you'll start to see like what's going on in the world. And this is really happening. The trap is that our daily lives just make us think, oh no, it's not that. Like we should have just conformed, we should go to work, we should have a laugh, celebrate Christmas, and everything's happy. But it's not. And like it would eat away at you if you just went by as if everything was normal, as if everything was okay. And so the fact that you're facing difficulties and you're really facing basically a breakdown of your whole life is supposed to be. And just ride it out. That's all I can say, is just ride it out, because in the future, if, and no, in fact, when you get to a time where you are seeing positive change, where you are seeing education actually be an education, where you're starting to see politics work in the favor of the people for the people, when you're starting to see communities come together, when you're not thinking back of people who have killed themselves, or people who have been depressed and suicidal because they're discriminated against, and you're seeing them happy and them being free and able to be their true being. When you're seeing that, when you're able to spend time with your friends and be happy and laugh and really know that you're living in a world which is changing for the better, the consciousness shift is actually happened, then it will be okay. So when everything seems like it's falling apart, just try to stay. Don't fool with it. Just stay, and there'll be nothing left for a while. But that's just clearing ground for new ways. That's what you've got to tell yourself. And it may not be the case, but if you tell yourself that, then you never know what's going to happen. And in fact, yeah, I'm sat here and I'm talking to this like I'm weak, like I'm weakened, like I'm defeated, but I'm not defeated. There's still fight left. And I can tell myself this, and I'll tell all of you this now, that we need to take back our minds. We need to take back our minds out of the hands of the oppressors, because they've kept us divided for too long. Like, I am not your enemy, you're not my enemy if you're watching this. It's just the fact that they make us feel this way. It's not that we have to keep going to jobs which are soul crushing and all of this. It's not the way it has to be. There is a positive influence somewhere, but you just have to really see everything break down before we rebuild out of the ashes something new, something fresh. And we just don't give in. Don't give in.